Howdy mates, good afternoon. How are we all doing? It is Monday, August 28th, 2023. And I tell you what, it's a gorgeous afternoon. Because you figure, relative humidity is a bit lower. Whoops, I just walked into a web. There's that. And if you look real carefully, you can actually see a little bit of that network. Oh man. It's that time of year. So that probably shows that I'm the first person who walked on this trail as of today. Perhaps. Anyway, we're over at the Shawnee Prairie Nature Preserve, which is a Darke County Park, and it's essentially where their headquarters are located. And of course, I figured since I was already in town, I thought I'd go pay a visit. Just because Shawnee Prairie was one of those first places that I went to during my childhood to attend programs that unknowingly at the time molded my appreciation for the natural world. And so hopefully within the next few minutes I can actually meet with some of the staff that works here, just because some of them, including Mandy and Robb, you know who you are, they were naturalists who worked here during my early years of my life. And so you could say it was some of those people that really influenced my early exposure to the natural world as it is. But it's quite refreshing, some pieces of nostalgia are here. And essentially gave the early ideas of Journey on a Journey itself. I like how I refer to it as basically third person. Oh man, it's humorous. I think I read that's called the Batman effect, to refer to yourself in third person. But yes, this is, man, it's very refreshing being here. We've got some great examples of esters right here in this prairie that we speak of. We've even got some ironweed as well. Let me see if I can show you guys what ironweed looks like. Here you go. Ironweed. I believe it's called that because with its stem, it's very, what you call, strong. Hence the term ironweed, if I'm not mistaken. Ah, yes. Got some white oak right here. Massive leaves. And this is a young one too. This is more of a sapling. So this is probably just a few years old. So it's also refreshing to see the deciduous trees that I grew up with, mostly. And for those of you not familiar with the term deciduous, it's really just a term meaning the leaves on these trees will eventually be lost. Because as it approaches winter, there's not as much sunlight that occurs. And so with less sunlight, there's going to be less opportunity for a process known as photosynthesis to be carried out. And thus, the leaves will change their color because the chlorophyll, which is the green pigment, will basically flow in towards the heartwood, and the tree will lie dormant for the time being. And so, that being the case, the leaves basically lose that function and they shed off of the tree. And thus, they'll fall to the ground, they'll create leaf litter, in turn, creating new soil. And the process repeats. But yes, this is also the famous Shawnee cabin that has been here for as long as I can remember, even since I was a child. I remember attending Prairie Days. You know, you're talking, oh boy, probably almost 20 years ago. They used to, I'm not sure if they still do it, but they would actually serve cow tongue here. And I actually really enjoyed it, as a matter of fact. But Prairie Days is like, it's like a festival that goes on here, and basically it simulates what life was like back in the, you know, the 18th and 19th centuries, and to really provide a glimpse of what it was like here prior to European settlement. So it also gives a glimpse of cultural history too. And one of those most popular historical figures is, of course, Tecumseh. I'm sure many of you have, of course, heard of him. He was a well-known Shawnee, and he grew up not too far from here. He was one of the most influential leaders in the resistance against European settlement. So that being said, one of the most predominant tribes that were around here at the time were the Shawnee, hence giving part of the name of this place. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. I had to fast forward just a little bit. What I wanted to show you guys as part of the last leg of the video was the log cabin here that you can see. Also, one of my most memorable parts of this park. This is essentially where they would show, you know, volunteers, they would show how maple syrup was made. And it's also known as the Sugar Shack. I mean, that's another name that it goes by, just because for the namesake of maple syrup. Really cool program, by the way, that they do. They usually do that late winter going into the spring. So you figure around February and March, because that's usually when the maple trees, such as sugar maple, produces most of its sap, which initially just starts out basically as water and sugar. But there's like a whole separate process that occurs in order for it to get its thicker viscosity. There's one more part that I want to show you guys, and then that should be about a wrap. The final part that I of course wanted to show you guys is the actual facility itself, right here. The nucleus of the Darke County Parks itself, where the naturalists stay and conduct their programs. So, alright you guys, have a good one, take care, and of course, Journey on a Journey is onwards. Take care.